and they hate capitalism. They say America is run by about 25 people. All of them, they own everything instead of 25. And all in all, what it amounts to, they hate people with money. And I found out to be one of the most effective ways to get rid of the Chinese when they come around and want to talk to you. All you gotta do is start talking about money.
Well, after looking at their pay rates that they get, I imagine it would hate. The colonel only gets something like $85 a month. Did you or anyone that you know of in your particular platoon or squad make any attempts to escape while you were there?
There were several attempts made to escape. This was a pretty, and with several arrangements made to escape, but none. I think about 3 people successfully got off the compound. But the thing was, we were so far north. The Yellow River made a bend around the camp itself, and roughly a mile wide at the port where the camp was located. And it'd be pretty hard to swim that river. And they made sure there was no boats or anything around there that a boat could be made out of around there. So it'd be practically impossible to get around. Most escapes attempts were made from detail, which we going off the compound up in the woods about 4 or 5 miles and get wood. And they would normally take anywhere from 50 to 60 prisoners at a time on the wood detail. And most attempts to escape were made on this type of thing. And most of them would get caught, say, a day and a half after this escape, because there's so many people, so many Chinese and Koreans in this particular area, and you couldn't expect any help from any of the peasants. There was definitely wasn't lend a hand, and it would be pretty hard to walk all the way from the Yellow River back in the condition that he was in.
Well, where your camp was on the Yalu, about how far from were you from the coast? Let's see.
I think Seninju was about the closest port city to Pyeongtaung. I believe it's Seninju. And we was right in the middle of the peninsula. You know, it's a little peninsula. China comes down, and the Yellow River runs up through Vostok. That's a little port of Russia that comes down into the corner. We were right in the center. And when I was perpetuated, it took us 2.5 days to get to Pamanjan by truck and train.
Did anyone ever consider the idea of following the Yalu down to the sea, and they're making its way on the coast?
Some of the plans was made. They made all kinds of plans to get out. Some did, and you know, everybody can't leave a PW camp at the same time. And this one, roughly, I think it was roughly 1,000 Americans in this particular camp. I think several Americans tried to escape. I think a couple of Turks got away and stayed gone for a while. eventually they all was returned back to Camp 5.
Did you ever make an attempt at it?
I never had a chance. I was in a plan, but our plan got blued.
Well, you're talking about, you know, many plans being made. The main reasoning for these plans, in other words, the main reason most of these plans were lost was due to the fact of informers and what have you around the camp.
True. That's one of the things. And it was actually hard to get out of it. It was hard because they had plenty of guards. They had plenty of guards there. And with the addition to the guards, one of the Chinese instructors, they call themselves, from the company, would walk the area all night. Now, he was unarmed, but at night they would march. They roughly, I say, 25 guards around the camp at night. And, it's pretty hard to get out of there, the camp itself. But most escapes were made after we'd gotten outside the camp to on wood detail or ration detail or something like this.
But at any point during your captivity over there, was there a possibility of a chance of an overall mutiny of all the prisoners against the communists, or was everyone so at a state that, you know, they really didn't care?
At one time, we had what we call a strike. We actually had a strike, and what led up to this was we had a platoon leader. We call him Peep Sight. What they wanted us to sign a peace appeal, some truce appeal, I believe it was. They wanted to sign something. They wanted to send the Parmesan to the negotiators down there, and we had a formation. We had a little ball field there we built, and Peep Sight got up there. He was the platoon sergeant. He was about the oldest guy in the camp, and practically everyone respected him for that, and he was definitely reactionary, and we always liked him for that. And he got up and said that he was not going to sign it because it wasn't legal and he wasn't supposed to sign it, and he recommended no one else sign it. And this shocked the Chinese. So they immediately took him, and they took him off the compound. And the main Chinese headquarters down in the little town of Pyongyang, it wasn't on the prison camp itself. And they took him down there. I don't know what they did, but we had another guy named Purvis Webster. He's called a PW. His name is Purvis Webster. So he took charge. After that, Chinese threatened to cut off our ration, threatened to shoot us all, threatened to court-martial, and said it was a mutiny and a bunch of more crap. And we didn't do nothing. We lay around for about 3 or 4 days. Wouldn't go into detail, didn't do anything. Wouldn't take any PT. So I just went on for 2 or 3 days and finally. They never cut what little food we were getting off anyway. So it really wasn't a problem. During this time of the summer, we would scrounge up enough food off the land to survive.
Well, did you ever hear, tell, or see peep sight after that incident?
Yes. They kept him somewhere about a week. He finally came back.
Still reactionary.
Yeah.
So, basically, if a Chinese threatened you, you could just figure on it being a threat, nothing more.
That's true. Actually, they put a boot in you, every now and then, but it can't hurt a man too bad. Keep him with a tennis shoe, and that's what they wore, so no problem there. Yeah. Actually, you can do just about what you wish. Like going on details, there's no problem there because they were gonna get someone to go on detail. So the squad leader kept a little roster there, and they wanted a man for wood detail. Good. So you on detail, wood detail, like clean latrine or something like this. Anything that'll benefit the prisoners themselves. Details of this type. This we do. Anything else, no dice.
But tell me, what was the guard-prisoner ratio? How many guards were there to the prisoners?
You mean how many guards did you actually have?
Yeah.
The camp, they had this wasn't a large area. It wasn't a large area. It says right on in a little bend in the river. The river took care of most of it, but they had guards along the river also, and they had approximately 10 guard towers. 10 guard towers, which was about 50 yards apart. Plus they had their walking guards on the outside of the fence. All the armed guards were on the outside. Outside the fence of the compound itself, any inside. All the Chinese that worked inside was unarmed. So there was no chance to get your hands on the weapon or anything like that. And they had plenty of guards, plenty.